Well, hey everybody. Welcome to the party. We're continuing on our holiday special. This is episode 3, I think. Hi Wade, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, Andrew? What's
Oh,
up?
it is going good. Are you ready for the holidays? I see you have a little bit of holiday spirit.
Yeah, we have a little bit. Let me grab the camera. We have a little bit of holiday spirit. We're hopefully by the end of this we'll have a little bit more. Let's see what we can do about that.
I was going to say, I think that is the perfect amount to start out with, and then we can kind of build on there,
Yes.
which is going to be fun. And we are doing something a little bit different today, Wade. I have just received a letter that I think that we should open and see what we're going to be working on. Happy holidays from Adobe Live. Let's make this season merry and bright. Can we bring a graphic to life and make it glow in After Effects? You think we can do that, Wade?
Yes, we can absolutely do that.
Heck yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think we haven't had an After Effects stream maybe in a long time. I,
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
I think that, yeah.
All right, so Wade, you are an extraordinaire in many different ways. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, I'm a motion graphics artist, a motion graphics, visual effects artist. But let me say this way. But in the last few years, I've been focusing more on illustration and concept art. So if you see my work in Behance or on Instagram, you won't see a lot of After Effects. You won't see a lot of motion graphics. Occasionally, I'll pop something on there. But today we are jumping back into what I do a lot of for motion graphics. We'll get this neon sign effect going.
Yes.
Trying to take an Illustrator file that I know most of you can make and make your own little signs.
Ooh, yeah, and we're going to give you some assets to be able to do that. We also, I want to point out real quick before we get into our giveaways for this stream, Wade does a lot of live streaming. Wade, what's your normal live streaming schedule?
Oh yeah, so every Tuesday and Thursday on Behance, 5:30 to 7:30 Central Time, every week.
Heck yeah. And it's a fun time. I can see we have our little friend from a past stream. If any of y'all have tuned in with streams with Wade and I before, our little friend making an appearance back from the Design in the Dark days. Anyone remember Design in the Dark?
Bingo and lids.
Fun
Yeah.
show. So Wade, I want to talk about one more thing where people can download some fun stuff. As we know, we love the holidays here at Adobe Live, and we love doing giveaways for you. What do we have for our friends? If you want to point.
Pointing
Right down, right below you. There we go.
right down there. You'll find the link to. I think Andrew and I have uploaded some stickers and a Mogrt that you guys can use in Premiere. And if we have time, we'll show that at the end.
Yes.
But, I believe Sam's our moderator. He can post that link for everybody.
Yep. And
Thank
if
you,
you
Sam.
want to, you can use these on Instagram. So I've realized that if you download them and then you hit copy and then just open an Instagram story, it will pop up in the corner for you to use as a sticker on Instagram. So if you want to, go ahead and use these on Instagram, post them on social, whatever you want, and hashtag Adobe Live Holidays to let us know that you're using them. But these are in that folder for you right now. You can go and grab them. And we also have the Mogrt, which we're going to try to show you at the end of this stream as well.
All right. What do you say? Should we get started?
I think we hop in. Yeah, I think we're ready to go. I'm going to switch back over to chat. Sorry, chat, I haven't been ignoring you. I've just been using my screen. So I'll hop back over there. And Wade, give us an overview of what we're working on today.
All right. So today, Andrew has provided us with a little lockup from Illustrator, and I'm gonna bring that in. I'm just gonna go ahead and get started here. Let me see if I can find this without showing everyone everything.
Oh, here, I can go here. Look at us. Actually, while you find that, I'm going to point out something that's really important for this stream. If you love the badges that we've created or any of the gorgeous type that you see around us, they're all from Amy and Jen Hood. Hoodspa Design, absolute titans of type design. And we are using Santa Ana Sans as well as Beverly Drive Right. So those are the two fonts that we're using for these lockups. If you want to grab them, they are on sale right now. This is just hard sell for you guys. Yams 2021 right here. It's the last day, Cyber Monday. They're on sale right now. So if you want to make some awesome lockups, you can use our stickers. But if you want to make your own, you can go grab these fonts from Hoodspa Design. Friends of the show, absolute amazing type. Go check it out. If someone could drop a link, that would be awesome. Thanks, moderator. All right, Wade, are you ready to go?
Yeah, we're ready.
Right.
So what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and start again from just importing this. We're going to bring in our Illustrator file. Important to bring it in as a composition, not as footage. so that we retain all the layers from Illustrator. I'm also going to bring in, it's kind of like a make a cake sort of situation where, let's see if I can just drag this in. I want to show you what we're doing, what we're going to create. And I'm just going to scrub through this. This is what we're making. Let's see if we can do a little preview. So by the end of this, we'll have this going on. But to go ahead and get started on how that happens, let me close this out. Oh, that's not closing it out. Here we go. And if you're not used to me working in Illustrator, After Effects, this is because I don't do a lot of that on my streams, but we are going to do that today. So going with the composition. So Andrew gave this to me. I had to do a little bit of organization for my purposes, but I have just a little bit more to do.
I feel like I want to hear that side from every designer that I ever work with, because I know that every file I send is like, well, I had to do a little bit of cleanup on this, because usually it's pretty chaotic.
Oh no, it was great. All I had to do was, for me, name the layer so I'd know what we're animating. I'm just putting these in order of how we're going to animate this. And it's going to be, trust me, it should be very simple for everybody to follow along. If not, watch the replay. And you can use your own Illustrator files to make your signs. First thing I'm going to do is just, let's see what I want to do here. I'm going to change the composition setting. We have a black backplate for our sign, but I want to be able to see that. So instead of our background being set to black, I'm going to switch it to a gray. Okay. Let's see. So first, and some of these steps are going to make sense as we go. So if you have any questions, or Andrew, if you see any questions, let me know.
Absolutely. And yeah, chat, don't be shy, ask questions. I know that there's not a lot of After Effects exposure, and so if you have simple questions, we'd love to answer those as well. So any questions you have, drop them in chat and I'll relay to Wade as we start working here.
Right. So first thing, we have everything is on. So this is the on state. All of the lights are on. If we were to go ahead and make this sign, they would be on. So we have to have that kind of grayed out, turned off look. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to select everything. You can hit Control A, but I didn't want to select the backplate. So I just selected by holding down Shift and grabbing everything in between. And then you can press Control D for duplicate, and it's going to make a mess of layers.
Oh, that's chaotic.
Oh no, it gets worse, but it gets better.
Okay.
So this is all of our layers.
I definitely want that like as my morning affirmation from Wade every morning. It gets worse, but it gets better.
But then it gets better. But if you keep it selected, we're going to pre-compose this by hitting Control Shift, I think Command Shift C. And I'm just going to name this off state.
And pre-composing is basically like making a group of it, right? It's just putting everything like a smart object?
It's not really. It's kind of not in the sense that you can't damage it, I guess. It's not non-destructive necessarily, but it nests everything. So if I double click, I just have a copy of everything within it.
Okay, little secret group.
Sense? Yeah, it's a group. It's a group of everything that we just duplicated. But as you can tell, I'm going to hide all of these. Everything is still turned on, except for the backplate, which I turned off. But we need this to be this kind of a dark turned off state, as if the lights are off. And so also for this, let's see, for this this session, this little creation of this sign, we're going to use only 2 presets or effects, I should say. So in effects and presets, if you click that, we're going to use a lot of tint, and we'll get to the other one later. So just start typing in tint, it'll pull up, drag this down to your off state composition, and you'll see that it grayed out immediately because it maps all the black, it maps everything to black and white. But what we want, I'm going to go ahead and just drag this. I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to go ahead and make kind of an off. You know what I need to do before I do that? I'm going to turn my back plate back on so that I can see what might be too dark.
And I think it's funny that like doing neon, you always think of the color, but it has to, and I mean, in theory, you could like make the paths and then like illuminate the paths, but it's always so much easier when you're doing neon to just have like a gray layer and then just put the color on top of it instead of trying to like augment or do anything crazy, just drop it on top.
Yeah, so in this one, and we'll get to the glow effect later on, but for creating this off state, I'm just going to drag something that's just a little bit lighter than our backplate, and I'm going to hit OK, but it only mapped the white, so what I'm going to do is map both of them to the same color. So
and that will make it so that they it's like a gradient map that's pulling everything to that color.
Exactly. And we're going to use this a lot in this. So
okay.
We'll see this again. So now we have our off state. I'm going to turn everything back on. And then we're actually going to just start animating. I usually like to jump in about 10 frames. And if you hold down, if you use the up and down page keys, you can see my little, let's see if you can see it here, but the little, on the timeline, the markers going up and down the timeline. But if you hold down shift, it'll go 10 frames. So it's a good way. That'll come into play later as well. But we'll go ahead and start with the outline, which is this. And if you turn on the toggle mask shape and path visibility, as I roll over, you can kind of see that it highlights what we're hovering over in the layers. Nice. That makes sense? So that's another way to find out, and we'll need that again later too.
That's a great feature. I would love to have that in Illustrator. Like that would be so helpful to be able to just like hover over and show what is where.
Yep. But you have to toggle this off and on to make sure it's on. I'm going to go ahead and press T, which will open up our opacity. I'm guessing that means for transparency in this case. But this is one of the properties, pretty much the only property we're going to animate throughout this whole session. But I'm going to go ahead and set a keyframe for 100%.
Actually, keyframe's basically just telling After Effects like, hey, we're going to start doing something here and then wait till we do the next thing, and that will be another keyframe, right?
Correct. As you move down the timeline, you set another frame for a different property or changing a value in the same property, and it will slowly move to that. But in this case, we want this to kind of turn on quickly. So I set the first keyframe to 0, second keyframe to 100, and guess what? We already have a light coming on.
So it's basically telling After Effects, hey, at this point, the opacity of this is 0, and then at this point it's 100, and then it figures out the middle for us, right?
Right. So I think we need to have a little more pizzazz, just a tiny bit more.
Pizzazz. Yeah. Is there a pizzazz button here in After Effects?
Well, you know what? There was I don't know if it still exists, but there was kind of a throw some effects at something button, like almost I don't think it's there anymore. It used to be like a little lightning bolt. I think they got rid of it.
And it was just like, good luck, here's an effect?
Yeah, does anybody remember that? It was kind of like a mix-up of what you could do with something. I can't remember what they called it. But anyway, we're going to add a little bit more to this animation. I'm just going to copy Control-C, Control-V. I just moved the marker down the timeline. So now it's going to turn off and on again.
And so just like doing assets, you can also copy and paste those keyframes to say, hey, it's the same information, right? One keyframe is saying we want this value here. The other one is saying we want this value here. So you can just copy and paste those and it will continue that.
Yeah, exactly. And we could, if we wanted this to look like maybe the bulb was dying, we could, if you made like a Krampus version of this, we could copy and paste all of this and, maybe bring this down the timeline a little bit, and it would flicker on and off multiple times.
Spooky Christmas.
But we don't want that. We're trying to keep the cheer.
Yeah, happy holidays.
Exactly. But I am going to just extend this a little bit. Let me see if we can do this. And it'll be it'll be 2 frames for the last turn on instead of just 1.
Cool. And Bruce is saying, not to take away from After Effects, but the off state reminded me of XD. Can something like this be made in XD? Yes. You could probably animate this really well in XD.
I've modded enough XD streams now that there's probably a lot of animation that just kind of, you could go back and forth between the two.
Yep.
But now we get into the copy and paste portion of the stream. I'm going to reduce this a little bit, but so all we have to do now is take this. This last frame is not set to 100, so that's going to bother me. Okay. I'm going to copy and paste this over to the Adobe Live Presents, but I want there to be some time in between, so I'm just going to tab over. We'll check out timing as we go, because we can just copy and paste this. And if you hit U, if you press U, it'll show, it'll reveal any animated property on the layer. So if I were to, let me add some more layers. I'm hitting Control keys, Shift P, Shift S to reveal different properties. But if I set properties, which we'll delete these, but you toggles those properties. It'll reveal if they're animated or not, so it'll just bring up straight to the keyframes.
That's interesting. And also, are you working with like a pad and a pen?
Yes, I am working with Intuos Pro, Wacom Intuos Pro Medium.
Wow,
and,
doing like video animation with a tablet just blows my mind.
Oh yeah. Oh, also I use a mouse, so I'll grab this to do right clicks and that kind of stuff.
I love that. That's so chaotic, but I love it.
It's all over the place. But here we go. Let's see. Now we have outline. Adobe Live Presents. That timing's okay. I'm gonna mix this up a little bit. I'm just gonna slide that down. We're gonna keep going on here. Home is our next.
What's happening here is you basically have the information of those little nodes that are saying, hey, these are just representing opacity from 0 to 100, and we're telling you the information, and now you're putting it on and augmenting the shapes that we've already created to do that same information, but because it's in different places, it's doing the same animation, but just at different times on different objects.
Yes, it's the same exact animation, same property for different layers that you're just copying and pasting.
Yep, and Daniel is saying you could also put a wiggle expression on the opacity.
You could.
Oh.
You could basically write an expression for each one of the layers you want it on or off multiple times throughout this process. And you wouldn't really have to make maybe a couple of keyframes. There's a lot of ways to do things in After Effects. But here we go back. I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible so that you can follow along. So we're not going to really dip into expressions in this, for this particular sign.
Oh, yeah.
But we're getting closer here. I think I had my for the out of order, so let me move this.
And again, with the composition that's happening right now, we have that gray kind of in the back. You can see it's the bottom layer there. And then all the layers that we're working with are the color layers that we're turning on and off. So it's not like we're augmenting the shapes of the gray. It literally is two separate stacks. And then we're just turning on the layers above, and it will look like it is turning on and glowing, but literally it's just two separate layers.
Right. And I think I don't want all of these to turn on. So that's just going to turn on straight. I do want this to look like it's flickering on in tandem. So let's see what we have so far.
All right.
It's a little fast. It's a little fast.
We're getting there. It's a little jumpy. It's excited. It's counting down to the holidays, but like wanting them to be here right now.
So I think I want to keep that on. Maybe we'll do Adobe Live Presents, and we'll just we will make this where it's not, it turns on, but turns on a little bit slower. Let's see what this, so Adobe Live Presents Home for the Holidays. I like that. That's fine.
Yep.
That works. So now we're really let's do a little bit of organization first, Andrew. How about that?
I usually wait till the very end of my project to do that. Like we say untitled in pure chaos, and then as I send it to the client, I'm like, I should clean this up a little bit. So
I know the scramble. Like, wait, I made this whole project. Now someone else has to see this whole project.
Yes.
They're not going to understand anything.
Yes, pure chaos.
But for this one, it's not really going to be a lot of organization. It's kind of, you know what? I still want to get into that festive, holiday mood. So you can set your layer colors. If you come over here to this little tab, you can set we're going to go with like a sea foam. It's sort of like the color in the holiday sign.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to take these and so your layers, you can slip these layers over. And I'm just doing this for kind of a safety sake, because I know they're zeroed out opacity wise before that first layer. But just to play it safe, I'm going to use the Alt left bracket to bring over this so it slides. So if I turn this on, it'll make sense. If I turn this on, you still don't see the outline. So I've turned our transparency, our opacity up to 100%. But because this layer on this part of the timeline isn't visible, you won't see it.
Oh, that's interesting. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, it's basically that block above is saying whether it exists or not. And regardless of what you're doing to it, if it doesn't exist, then it doesn't matter. And so it's bringing it up to the first animated when it needs to exist. Right.
So if I pull this back, what's going to happen at 100%?
It will show up. Yep.
So
I like the live quiz. It caught me off guard.
You do that to people all the time.
I was gonna say, I'm usually on the other side of that, of like, hey, do you know about this? And I was like, oh no, I was watching chat and I was like, he asked me a question, I don't know what's going on.
Oh man. Yeah, in your face earlier when you realized you could double click the widgets in the corner widgets in Illustrator.
Mind blown.
Perfect. So I'm just going to set these all. I'm just using. Oops, that was the wrong layer. I'm just using that hotkey Alt left bracket.
And it pulls it up to where it needs to exist.
Yes, and I'm doing the wrong layer, so that's why. But you have to be on the layer for it to work. Oh, also a little tip: if you hold down Shift, it will sticky to the, it will pull your slider, your time indicator over to your keyframe.
Oh.
So that kind of helps to know that you're locked in.
And you can track through really quickly. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And for those of you asking, you can get a bunch of fun stickers and the animations that we're creating right over here, Adobe bit.ly/Adobe Live Holidays. We'll drop that in chat for you. And all you're going to do is you are going to scroll all the way down here to where it says Wade Acuff. And in here, we have all of those fun GIFs and stickers for you to use on social media, as well as a Mogrt here that we'll get into maybe at the end. And so you can post those on social media using hashtag Adobe Live Holidays. And the fonts that we're using here are from Chutzpah Design. If you want to go check those out, they are on sale right now. So if you want to make your own, you can do that. And there is a version that we've subbed these fonts out for some other ones. But if you want the real deal, go pick them up. All right, Wade, let's continue on.
All right, so now we're really coming to the meat of this. So we got to have these little, and we can look at our reference that I pulled in. If we want to, as I scrub through, you'll see the ornaments start to pop on, but then they change color. So that's what we're about to work on here.
Ooh, that seems like a little more complicated than what we've been doing, because we've only been turning it on and off. Now we need it to change color as well.
Yeah, and we're still going to turn everything on and off. You'll see how it happens. It's really kind of easy.
Magic.
But first, let's get these animated on, and I'm just going to copy. In fact, you know what, we're going to use that little bracket thing. None of these are going to turn on until after the holidays appears. So we'll skip down a few frames, and I'm just going to bracket all of these over.
Oh, so it also, if there's no animation, it will just bring it up to the playhead of where your marker is.
You don't need that. And you'll notice I've left the backplate layer is still active because we're going to have it there the whole time.
Cool.
So there's no reason to bring that one over. But now we're going to just, you could set these every time, but I'm just going to copy and paste. And I'm going to put these all the way down. I'm just going to select all of them and then Control V. And if I hit toggle, we have all of those animated.
It just animated everything for us.
Yeah, it's just that on layer. So now we have to go through, and this will take a minute. I'm just going to tab. I'm not going to tab, actually. I'm going to just hit the page down to go like 3 frames. And I'm going to drag all of these. You know what? I think now's another time to get festive. Let's see. Where is this? Let's see. 10 bulb. I think bulb is the last one. Let's turn all of these to red.
Ooh. Oh, Wade, we are getting levels of festive here.
I'm trying to, you know what? We're trying to generate that mood, that feeling. So
right, it's motion with design and user interface. This is an XD stream. This is all the streams in one.
So I'm going to grab all of these layers, and all I'm doing, and you'll see it. It's just staggering the timing. If you watch these first 2 here, it's just bringing that on and off state.
And so just dragging them through.
Yeah, and so it's good. Go ahead.
Well, while you do that and run through those, I'm going to go ahead and look at the schedule today, just so everyone knows. We have a ton of awesome content coming to you. And again, the holiday special is running all week. We're trying to make Adobe Live your home for the holidays. And we have an awesome stream with Nick Longo and myself. If you ever watch Office Hours on Friday, one of my favorite things, Nick Longo and I are going to be hanging out, and we'll be doing a recipe video in Premiere Rush. And so it's going to be a wild time. Nick posted, he actually texted me a picture of what he made and what we'll be making today, and it looks so delicious. So we'll give you that recipe as a giveaway, as well as some tips and tricks on how to use Premiere Rush. So make sure you stick around for that. And then we have more content coming to you every single day. And again, free assets over on Adobe Live, bit.ly/Adobe Live Holiday. We'll be giving you those after every single stream. And we have our friend Dark Hours Co. hanging out in chat. What's up, Dark Hours? Whoa, Wade, this is looking fab. It is. It's looking fantastic.
Yeah. So well, thank you. Thanks. I appreciate it. So this is where we are. And you know what we can do? I'll show you guys. If you want to change the markers on this timeline, just to get the RAM preview of our video, if you hit B for beginning, I guess. I don't know. I just know that B moves this your work area.
I love when we justify hotkeys. That it's like, you know, we're hitting L for the ellipse, and you're like ellipse, like an L, like ellipse.
I mean, we don't know. We're not in the workings of behind the scenes here.
Yeah.
Things happen. So B for beginning, and I guess N for end. So it'll bring what your work area down to just what you want to see. So it'll just loop through that, so we can look at our timing.
I think
great. I think everything looks fine. And not to get confused, I think you can double click it to expand it back to where it was. It's a full 10 seconds. So all I did was stagger these out, and then for these bars here, I can kind of come into this. It doesn't have to be so far away. I just moved, since these are going to turn on after all the ornaments come on, I just moved their keyframes down to the end as well. So now it's going to get a little more chaotic, but I think you're going to like it. So we're going to have three different versions of this. We're going to have the back plate, the off state.
Yep.
Have these turn on, but then on the last ornament that turns on, we're going to start the blinking light effect.
Okay.
And what I'm going to do to create that is just copy all of the ornaments.
Another set?
Yep.
Oh boy.
Another set. I'm actually going to copy all of them. I'm not just going to do the ornaments, because we're also going to turn these bars, make these bars blink on and off. So I've grabbed all of those, and I'm going to hit Control D. And then while we're here, while they're all selected, let me do it this way.
I'm stressed. I need an adult.
No worries. I'm going to hit the brackets, because this is where they're all going to turn on, right?
All right.
So we're not going to see anything of those before then. Then I'm going to select green, and now we're even more festive.
All right.
Look at this.
All right, I'm less stressed.
Okay. And now we're even more festive with our green layers. And then if you remember, so right now if I play this through, let's see, nothing really happens. Our ornaments come on, and then bam, we're done.
So in theory, there is things happening, but we can't see it because they're just the same.
Yes, there's a layer on top, exactly. And what we're going to do with that layer is bring our old friend tint back into play. If I come up here to effects and presets, if you start typing in tint, we'll drag this out, put it on our top layer, which should be our first ornament, and it goes and it maps everything to black and white. But guess what we're going to do? We're going to copy, that was a red ornament, so we're going to copy this green color, and we're going to do just what we did before, and we're going to turn that to green.
And we're just using the eyedropper tool there to grab that color.
Just grabbing that color from that. So now you'll see there's our red, and bam, there's our green.
And then it switches over.
Right. It's not turning on and off though, right? So now we have to make that happen. And to do that, guess what we're going to do? We're going to animate the opacity again. Yes. But there's a little twist to this one.
All right.
It already has an opacity on here. I did not delete that. I meant to do this. We'll delete them as we go. Because I copied the earlier one. It still had the animation for that on there. But we're starting fresh, 100% here. I'm going to set a new keyframe for, so it's on. So it's on the on state. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tab over. I keep saying tab. It's really shift page down for 10 frames.
Okay.
Like we did early on to give us a little room. Set another keyframe, but this one I'm going to set to 0.
And so we're basically going to inverse the animation that we've been doing, right?
Well, right. We're going to it's actually going to turn it off as we go down. But if you see, as we move down the timeline, it's fading. We don't want that. We want it to be hard off and on. So if you right click your keyframe, or you can do this in animation, toggle, hold keyframe. But if you right click your keyframe, there's also a little menu that says toggle hold keyframe, which is going to keep it at that 100% state until it reaches another keyframe that tells it differently.
And it changed the shape of that keyframe as well, right?
Yes, it does. It shows a little like a hard line on it. But on the same thing for the other one, we're going to toggle that whole keyframe. So we're not going to get any smooth transitions between it. So now when we go to it, it's going to stay solid.
And that'll give us that blink effect, that hard kind of pop in.
Exactly, because it turns back off. But now we're going to do a bunch of copy and pasting. And this is where a couple of things could happen. If you wanted to, you could Pickwhip all of the properties.
Ooh, what's Pickwhip?
Pickwhip is when you take, because let's just go to one of the other layers that we would be using here. I'm going to turn off that animation.
What a fun name. That would be a great character name.
Pickwhip.
Pickwhip.
So this little thing is a Pickwhip because you can drag it. You see this?
Yes.
So you can drag this to a layer, but you can also drag it for some properties that it will Pickwhip to. It won't do it to all of them. But since it's opacity to opacity, it will. I can Pickwhip to that opacity. So now, and you won't see it though. Well, yeah, we can turn this layer off. So now you'll see this blink on, and then you'll see them both blink off. Because it's Pickwhipped.
What a cool tool. I want that in more things. Pickwhip is a rad idea. I mean, I guess it's kind of like the eyedropper tool for like effects in some other programs, but I definitely want the Pickwhip tool to exist in some other programs.
Yeah. So it basically lets you drag, like if I had something with motion that was just the coordinates of the where it lived on the space on the canvas, if it were moving around, I could Pickwhip another layer to it and it would just follow along with it. It's really, really cool. But what we're doing with this is we're going to copy and paste all of these. You could also, this is where you could also write a little script to turn all of this stuff on and off. But again, keeping it simple here, Control C, I'm going to tab down, Control V, double, I keep saying tab, it's not tab, it's Shift, page down, and you'll go 10 frames. But instead of just doing that every time, I'm just going to grab all of it, Control C, Control V, then grab all of this, Control C, move our marker, go 10 frames, bam. That'll take us to the complete 10 seconds of our timeline.
I love when I'm doing stuff like this, especially in Illustrator or things like this that are repetitive, how your fingers just get in the habit of the hotkeys and you just like start going and it's just like, oh man, it's happening so fast. And this is one of those things that's a lot of copy paste.
Yeah. And there's going to be more. We're about to do a lot more copy paste here. But we need this to happen on every single layer now. All of them. All the rest of them that we're animating. So these 3 bars and the rest of the ornaments. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy, you know what you can do, because you can't see it here, but if I drag the layer over, there's more of the copy pasted keyframes from earlier that actually go beyond our timeline. But if you want to get everything, in this case, you can click the opacity property to select every single keyframe, which is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to hit Control C to copy all of this. I'm going to move my timeline marker back to the beginning of the layer for all of the rest of them, and I'm going to just go through and select so that I can just do one massive copy and paste to everything else we need to animate.
And so you can paste the properties onto multiple layers if they're selected, right?
Yes.
Cool. I feel like for me as a beginner in After Effects, and I've used After Effects a couple times, this is something that like I wouldn't think of some of these tricks that are going to save us time, and I would go through and try to animate all of those. And knowing that I can select multiples and then just paste those properties is super helpful and would save me a ton of time. Well, look at, like, they're all there now.
Yeah. So now they're all, you know what, let's move this guy up so you can see.
Oh, so festive.
Yeah, so this is all of our animated, and you can see that they're still selected, so they're hot off the copy and paste presses. Anyway, so now they're all animated. We can actually see them. Let me bring this back down a little bit. We do a little RAM preview here.
Boop, 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 boop.
But there's only one blinking.
Oh yeah.
Right? So guess what else we have to do? Copy and paste. We can steal the tint from the first one and copy it to every single red one. So you're saving time here too.
Okay.
If you select on the original ornament, this green star, green is what we're covering up the red with. So if you grab that one, in the property, or sorry, effects panel, you can grab the tint, and if you copy that, Control C, it will also keep the green color you selected.
Okay.
So now we're just going to go down to every, and this is where the hovering over will help you select. So every red that we see, every red ornament that we see up here, if we
select and then paste.
Yeah. Yes, and if we get, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do what we did earlier. I'm going to hit Control, and select multiple of these so that I can do that all at once and not have to do it more than, do it for every frame. It's just going to happen in one time. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay. So when I hit Control V, all of the red ones should turn green if we did it right.
Yep. Boom. And it's not pasting any kind of object. It's just pasting the attributes.
Right. It's no shape. It's just changing the color with that tint effect.
Yep. And Brad is asking, why didn't we just pre-compose them all? I think because they were all different originally, right?
Yeah, well, like I said, there's a lot of ways to do this, and I'm trying to keep this as simple. And if you wanted to do this in a walkthrough, they were pre-composed together, and you could do this by pre-composing.
In theory, yes, is the answer, Brad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And Wade, just for reference, we got about 20 minutes left here on the stream, so it looks like we're making great progress. Yeah,
we're good. Another way, and the other thing is, I just wanted to show how to basically do a copy paste to make any of these, no matter how many layers or how few layers you have. So we have these blinking. We need to copy over the tint. And
we the red ones, right?
Yes, now we have to do the red ones. So we don't have one for that, but we can Control C, Control V, and we're going to do the same thing. Grab this red, and then map those colors to red. Then we grab the tint.
Boom, 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 paste.
Yep. And then here's where it gets tricky, because now they're all the same color. So now you have to find out which ones were the green ones.
Yep.
Originally. But I think we got this.
Every other, yep. Magic. I love motion. It just brings everything, like that extra level of magic, of like what you have in your brain. Being able to bring that to life is so magical. Yay!
Now we have to do the bars, and that won't take but a second.
And the bars are going to be the same thing, right? Make a copy, flip the colors, exact same workflow.
Same exact process. We already have them turning on and off. We just can't see their color changes. So I'm going to grab the one that we need to turn red, which would be these two, I believe.
And if you all want to or haven't seen yet, if you're just joining us, you can go to the link right down here, bit.ly/Adobe Live Holidays. And that link will take you to a folder where you can download a bunch of great assets and get things like this, right? That Wade is creating for us in After Effects. There are some awesome GIFs that you can use as stickers on social media, hashtag Adobe Live Holidays. And it is right here in the Wade Acuff animated stickers folder. All right, we are here. It is blinking. It looks like we're pretty good to go.
This is basically it, but we can make this a little bit more dynamic.
Okay, let's do it.
A couple of things I want to show, and this is where we are going to pre-compose this again.
Ooh, and again, pre-composing is basically just grouping.
Yes. So I want to take everything, including the off state, but we're leaving the back plate, and it'll make sense in a minute.
Okay.
And I'm going to hit Control Shift C, and I'm just going to call this, I don't know, H for H, sign. Okay. And I moved all of the animation and layers to, we can redo that. Hold on.
So now we have the back plate, and then we have all those layers, because all that we want is, hey, this animation idea, we want this in our own group. So that way we have both groups.
Yeah, and in Precompose, you have options to leave all attributes. Like if you were you can leave them on the group, some of the animation on the group, or you can move everything into a new composition. And that's what we're doing here. So I'm just basically taking everything and grouping it. We didn't really do anything with it, so it probably won't make a lot of sense. I did not name this one, but you can rename it. Right click, rename.
I don't think anyone in chat is naming any of them. I never, anytime somebody on stream is like, oh, I should name my layers, I'm like, yeah, nobody's doing it though. Right. Like we're all in the same boat. We'll pretend that we name them, but yeah.
So let's say we have, I mean, look at this. We have this, it's kind of small in our, this is a 1080p composition. We can make this bigger if we want to. And what's great about having it from an Illustrator file is we can turn on constant rasterization, which is this little toggle right here. And let's see if we can see what this looks like. See how it's kind of grainy, or you know, you're getting some of these stair stepping happening here. I don't know if you can see it.
Yep.
We don't want that, right? So in our, I'm double clicking back into
our Precompose.
The Precompose. I'm going to turn all these on. I've got to do it for the off state as well. Boom. So now when we hop back out, it's still a little sketchy, but it's a lot better. It's let's see if that's
what we go for sometimes, is like, yeah, it's good enough.
Right. Well, let's see. Maybe I missed one. Make sure I didn't miss something here.
Rendering in.
Should be fine now. All right, let's find out. So I'm gonna scale this up.
I love that. It should work. Let's find out.
Let's find out. So I'm gonna use the Pickwhip.
Pickwhip.
And I'm just gonna Pickwhip the layer to this layer. So any property I use now for this position, like if I move this, it's gonna move everything. So if I didn't have that, let's turn this off, and I move this, the back plate wouldn't go with it.
Which would get chaotic really fast.
Right, you don't want to have to animate. You won't have to copy and paste everything.
Why? There's no reason. Just Pickwhip it.
It's Pickwhip. So now it moves with it, but it would also do this with scale, which is what we're going to use to scale this up. So we're going to scale this up.
There we go.
And yes, it's still clean. So we're good. We're good with the constant rasterization.
Crisp.
It didn't get really blurry on us. But we're not done there. I left a little room. If you remember right at the beginning, I left about 10 frames.
Yep.
We're going to add a little motion to this since it looks like we have time.
Ooh, we do have time.
But what I'm going to do I'm going to basically make it look like it flips up and pops out.
Okay.
With a little squash and stretch action on it. I'm going to unlink the scale. If I keep it linked, it just scales uniformly.
And we want to scale vertically?
Yeah, if I unlink it, I can go vertical or horizontal.
Okay.
But what we're going to do is I'm going to just come in here a few frames, just eyeballing this. I'm going to hit scale for that to set our start point. I'm going to go down a few frames. This is going to be our end point. I'm setting 3 frames, one for where we can zero this out. So now if we watch it, it kind of appears.
Oh, so at 0 is basically it disappears because it's so thin. It's 0 pixels wide.
Right. So you're 0 and you're coming out, but that's okay. But if you want to add a little bit more flavor to it, what I would do and what I have done,
toss in some spice,
is I'm going to stretch this a little bit so it goes beyond the original format.
Yep.
So it kind of pops up. It's pretty quick. I'm actually going to put an ease on this last frame.
And what does an ease do?
So easy ease. Let's see. I think if you right click this, it gives you the options to. Let's see.
Easy Ease is definitely some artist's name. Like 100%. There's a music artist out there named Easy Ease. Oh
wait, here we go. Keyframe assistant. It's under this little pull out down here,
Okay.
and you can ease in, ease out. Ease in is like slowing as you come to a stop. It'll slow in.
Okay.
And ease out, it will start slow and ramp up.
So it's almost like kind of like Matrix mode, to where like it's regular time and then slowly starts to slow down.
For keyframes.
Got it.
Yeah. But I never use the right click. I always just use Shift F9. Is that correct? Yes, Shift F9.
Oh, we're getting deep into hotkeys.
This is it's all the time. Control Shift F9, and that's an easy ease for both directions. But if you wanted to just have the other way and ease out, you could do it that way with just adding the control to it. But Shift F9, and you should see a little flip happening. It's pretty quick.
That's a fun little bounce.
Let's see, maybe, yeah, a little slower. We'll do it a little slower.
And you make it slower by just dragging out those keyframes.
Yeah, and you can, there's another little tip. You can grab all your frames, hold down Alt, and it will drag them out proportionately.
And that's doing basically just timing. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And Daniel's saying, is this being created at 256 colors because the intent is to output an animated GIF?
Actually, it's whatever. Let's see. I think it's just whatever our composition is. RGB right now.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And then I think it will compress when we...
It definitely compresses, so it's not at 256 right now. This is our composition settings.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's set up for RGB output at the moment.
And yes, Daniel, some of those GIFs I created in Photoshop doing a similar idea. And so I'm guessing that the conversion's the same to when you export it going to GIF, it just exports it to 256 for you. Because,
Did you use the save
for web?
Yeah, save for web. Yep. Yeah. And we can get into that too. So, but we can finish this off with a little animation at the end as well. And again, why not just reuse frames? Unless you want it super custom, we're gonna go to the end here.
It's not cheating, it's efficient.
Right. So everything, exactly, that's it. And everything is not right because we popped up here and then it's slowly starting to sync. Well, it's because our frames are out of order. So all you have to do is reorder them, which I tried this and you can't do it. But I was hoping I could scale past this by dragging, but it won't let you drag past.
Yep.
If that makes sense. But we can reverse everything by just changing the order. And I'm going to do that ease out. So you know what? Yeah, I'm going to do the ease out on the end. And then like we learned before, if you hit B, it'll just take that part of the work area.
And loop it again. Oh, yep.
Not quick enough for my taste. Let's see.
Shoop.
Still not quite quick enough. Let's see what this looks like. Boop. Perfect. All right. So yeah, if there's any questions right now, this would be a great time to have them. We can dip it through the Mogrt if you want, or we can see.
Oh yeah, let's look at the Mogrt real quick. And there is a question. Can you export to animated SVG?
Let's find out.
Let's find out. There's no rules here. We're exploring together.
Queue. Yeah, add to render queue is control.
Daniel says AE doesn't generate animated SVG, so I think the answer is no.
There you go.
Thank you, Daniel.
but just because you asked, we can go into the render settings for this. Let's see. What I did for output to send over to Andrew is I just used let's see, go into this. I saved it as a QuickTime and then an animation format, but with the alpha on.
Yep.
Because we do have an alpha on this, and then you can just import that into Photoshop. And also, Media Coder does not do an animated GIF the way Photoshop does. So until they add that, I would still recommend using Photoshop for your animated GIFs.
Cool. All right, let's see if we can get Mogrt. We've got about 5 minutes left. Let's see how Mogurted we can get. That feels like.
I'm just going to show you guys what we did with the Mogrt. Everybody hang on. This might get a little intensive for my CPU. So let's see what happens when we play this. So you'll notice a big difference. It says the hawk rattles.
It's me.
Right. So what we have over here in the essential graphics is a Mogrt. It's the same one that I shared with you guys, but it's editable. And I don't mean like you can eat it. That's editable.
Editable. Yes.
You could try to eat it. I don't. Anyway, so this is what, and I just grabbed some free license Adobe stock video, put it behind here. So if your parties are, home and cozy, you can do that. If they are, let's see, if they are a little bit more, let's get fancy with it. don't know if this is going to play.
Yeah, it's
there we go.
Full chaos.
So there we go. But, you know, sometimes, you know, people have different types of parties.
Yep.
So,
and if you want to change the name on there, how would they change it to their name?
Oh, yeah. So, oh, yeah, this is a clown party, by the way. We don't want to do that.
I definitely want to go to a clown holiday party.
So if you'll notice, let me switch this out. Hey, look, it says the Acuffs.
Hey.
Well, if you wanted to edit that, you could go over into, at your Essential Graphics panel, you can go into Edit. Actually, you have to select it first. Then you can edit it. But you know what? Let's take Andrew's and let's just change that one over. So I'm going to change this to Acuffs.
Oh, and we have to do that on both because it's doing it on both of
there's an on state. Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. And I also included, so we're using Zeitung Mono Pro for our font.
Yep, which I believe is an Adobe font, right?
It's an Adobe font. But you'll notice there's a little gap here. So what I've also included on this is the nameplate bar, which is turned off. There's a comment down here that says to use nameplate bar, adjust the horizontal scale, first number field only, and position as needed. So as I turn the scale on for this, if I can make this work for me. Okay, let's see what's happening here. All right, let me go to the mouse. There we go. You look at this little bar starting to come across. All right, so now you can adjust this to however your name might fit.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and anybody can use this one. Hopefully your characters of your name are will fit in this, and you can change the size. I've also allowed where you can change the size for this. But then you also have to do the backplate for that as well. So I just copy and paste from these fields to the off-state backplate. And so now when we play this, it should turn on like it was there the whole time.
Right there.
So, there you go.
Boom. And again, that is an Adobe font that is synced up there. If you guys want to, you can grab the original font, which is up there. It's called Santa Ana Sans. You can grab that over from Chutzpah Design. We couldn't include it because you need a separate license, so we subbed it out. It's a great font that we have in there, but if you want to grab the hoods, it is a perfect, gorgeous pairing. And how did we make the Mogrt, Brad? I think that might be a different stream. Mogrts are pretty intensive, right, Wayne?
They can be. This one was really simple, but if you have any questions, you can come over to my stream and ask me, and I can walk you through it. I'm sure that you can find. I know there have definitely been streams about making Mogrts on Adobe Live.
And if you want to watch one of Wade's live streams, you can go over here, behance.net/WadeAcuff/live streams. When is your next live stream, Wade? I believe maybe tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow night, 5:30.
Tomorrow night,
Central Time.
5:30 Central Time. You can check out and hang out with Wade. And you also can download both the stickers and the Mogrt that we just used if you want to make your own right here. The link, Wade, can you point down for us? Right there. There it is. bit.ly/Adobe Live Holidays is where you can get all of those assets, get some fun stuff in here. And I believe this is the GIF that we made today. This is not the GIF that we made today. Yes, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Popping in, popping out. So this is what we made today. And you can see some of the 256 little pixels happening on the edges. I love that. Like, I don't care at all. I love the little giffiness of it. So it does compress it when you export, but you can get all of these, use them on social media, tag us on Instagram, hashtag Adobe Live Holidays, tag Wade. Wade, where can people find you on Instagram?
Wade Acuff.
Just
my name.
Just Wade Acuff. That's you.
Yeah. Same thing on Twitter and on Behance.
There we go. The duplicated and never replicated. So you can follow all of those. We have more content coming up. We may shut this down just about 30 seconds early because I will be back in 3 minutes with our friend Nick Longo. We are going to be hanging out and working on some recipe video. Wade, I cut away at the perfect time. We're going to cut back here. Wade's ready for the holidays now.
Guys, we've made more holiday cheer.
We did it together.
Look at this. We did it.
It's a holiday miracle.
That's right.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, Wade. Stick around, everybody. We'll be back in just a couple minutes with Nick Longo and I working on some video. And Wade, thanks so much. We will see you tomorrow on your stream.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye.